May your senses always enable you to celebrate the universe and the mystery and possibilities in your presence here. So may you and your blesseds be sensed. And welcome to the inaugural wine workout.
Are you with me? 'Cause it's our last chance disaster.
I'll tell you my favorite story. I started drinking really young because my dad loved wines and I loved talking about smells. So we'd always say, sweetheart, what do you smell in here? And so by the time I was in college, and the drinking age was only 18 then, I was writing about wines. And I was in Paris and my boyfriend came to visit me, and his favorite story was that he was in the Tuileries doing what he saw everybody else do, opening up a bottle of wine to have in a picnic. And the gendarme, the policeman, blows his whistle and comes back over to him and says, stop, stop. And he's like, but look, everybody else is doing this. And he said, yes, but in France we have red with cheese. I used to think it was snobby. When I first got into the wine business, there'd be somebody, Michael Broadbent, one of the best tasters I know, and he'd be tasting wine blind, and you'd see him go through this rapture, and he'd be like, oh, it's clearly one of the southern-facing slopes in the Rhone. And I think, how snobby is that? But no, really, in fact, how magnificent. You can taste the earth, the stone, the grapes, choices that the winemakers made and choices that nature made, all in one glass of wine. Most of you have probably been to wine tastings before. You know that that first we swirl the wine to release its aromas. My friend Kevin Zraeli, who leads a wonderful wine class, has people not only swirl 3 times, but once with their hand over it. And then really breathe deep in these wines. I mean, really inhale and sit with the aroma for a while. Because really, as I say, 85% of what is called wine tasting is really wine smelling. Then, when you take it, you take a pretty big sip, a pretty generous sip. Shirley said that this was a strong Sauvignon Blanc, that it was like the grass was growing into the glass. This is the aroma wheel. So on the aroma wheel, you can get as specific as when someone says grass, that's too broad a term. You would say, oh no, that is like the good dried hay flecked with wildflowers, or that is like the bad barnyard hay, someone's got to muck the stall. And I'm gonna pass this around. Any other comments on the Sauvignon Blanc? I grew up with my dad from the age of 12, giving me glasses and saying, sweetheart, what do you smell in this? And I didn't even know that people only described wine in words, so I'd be like dancing around going, oh my God. And then he'd say, well, what do you smell in words? So I'd say, well, oh my God, it's like a little bit of a wet leather saddle and a lot of like lilacs and some hay, and he said, you know, that's a Puligny Montrachet. When my dad died like 9 years ago, right out of the ICU in the hospital, he said, sweetheart, let's have some Puligny Montrachet. And I didn't know what to say. You know, I kind of reminded him that he was like in the hospital, and even though, you know, that they didn't have room service. And he was hooked up to all these monitors, and he just stared kind of blankly. And I started to remind him of the Puligny Montrachet. I just started describing the wines as we shared it since I was a teenager. And as I visited the vineyards when I was running Friends of Wine magazine, and of bottles I bought back, and of bottles he bought back, and on his monitors, I could see his oxygenation was better. His heart rate was slower. Maybe it was definitely the last wine he ever had in his life. But it might have been the best.